In 8th grade, I was in surf class. I really enjoyed that, but I wasn't in the core group of surf guys, so I was kind of made fun of. I was from Long Beach, not a big surf community. But I did have a few friends that from 8th grade we went on to high school together, and so that was really the beginning of just some long, amazing friendships. In high school, I started playing football. I was the second smallest kid on our football team, our freshman football team. I earned the spot of starting middle linebacker, even though I was the smallest kid. I was just ornery, and I do think my parents used to always tell me that I was always a much nicer kid during football season. And I had a period from 7th grade to 8th grade that I also boxed competitively. And I just think I learned to take out any emotions I might have, anger, fear, just in contact sports. And so I was a really good football player because of it. My sophomore year, I broke a school record for tackles. My senior year, I was the captain of the football team and was number 3 or 4 in a big football school of all-time tackles. And some of the people that were ahead of me were pro players. So I had aspirations of playing football beyond high school. Unfortunately, I also started partying in my senior year and got into drugs, and that became my hobby instead of continuing on in sports. So I did not go to college. I started working construction with my dad. And one rainy season, probably 2 years into working with my dad, there was no construction work during the rain. So I took a part-time job at a laboratory and found out that I was really good with numbers and I could retain information really well. And so I quickly became one of the highest producing charge entry people in the company. And so even though it wasn't as good a salary as the construction, I liked it.
And it was consistent work.
It was consistent, and I liked the people I work with. It was a more professional environment, which intrigued me. So I hung there for a year, and my boss left, and I got promoted into her position, and that was kind of overseeing all of the work being done. She recruited me to where she went probably 6 or 8 months later, and then I landed at a group of orthopedics, and I was the only male employee out of like 40-something, except for the doctors. They were all men. And so I think with the doctors, several of them were young, and so they took a keen interest in what I did, and that was coding and billing and everything that Newport Med does now. But they really pushed me, and I'm grateful for it because I started to have value, again, performance-based, but I started to have value in a business sense, and I excelled at it. I started writing letters of appeal, which is disputing payments from insurance companies, and I really liked that David versus Goliath mentality of fighting for a doctor. And I started tracking everything that I did and the payments that would come in, and realized like I'm doing a lot more of this than anyone else here, and I love it and it's fun. So about 3 years into my employment with that orthopedic group, I went to the doctors and said, listen, I've tracked for the last 3 years all the extra appeal money that I've brought you, and it's to the tune of $500,000. And I think I'm really good at this, and I'm working for a doctor down the hall at night, doing billing and coding, and I think I can start a business with it, but I like working here, so I would appreciate a large increase in my pay, or I'm going to have to go start my own business. And they thought for like 2 seconds and said, hey, don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. And so I said, okay, writing's on the wall, thank you. I lasted my couple weeks with them, ended well, and started working for several doctors in the same building, some of it at home, most of it at their office. Soon thereafter, I hired my dad, who was an unemployed construction worker at the time, and my brother, who was also an unemployed construction worker. He had just gotten out of the Marine Corps. and kind of taught them what I was doing. They were at home helping. We got a small office, probably had 5 or 6, 7 clients at the time. And that turned into a decent company. That company lasted about 7 years. It was called Optimum Reimbursement Services. And we really started doing appeals for other practices and other billing companies. My pitch to the billing companies was, look, anything that you consider a zero balance, give it to me and let me make sure it was coded and billed and paid appropriately and even documented. If it wasn't, then let me recode it, resubmit it, fight with the carriers, but I want half of what I bring you. And so a few of the doctors said, why would you get half? And I said, well, you can sit with 100% of nothing, which is what you have right now, or half of something. Don't you want half of something? And that was kind of the pitch that grew it, that yeah, okay, if you can draw water from a rock, this is a zero balance on my AR, go ahead and work your magic. And so that evolved. We got a reputation, and it was good. But it reached a point, my life outside of work at that point was bad. The partying continued. I got into drugs and meth, to be exact, and it had really taken a hold of my life.